This has got to be one of the worst shows I've ever seen. It's called Provo's Most Eligible, and it's a Mom, can we watch The Bachelor? We have the Bachelor at Home version of ABC's The Bachelor set in Provo, Utah. I cannot imagine a worse place to date than in Provo. Let me set the scene. It's a land of desperation, where the beliefs of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints push young people into doing all sorts of things, like going on missions and getting married, basically as soon as possible. So, as a former fucking missionary myself, if you can believe that, let me be your tour guide on this horrible misadventure we've been calling Provo's Least Eligible. Part 1, Jungle Fever, or lack thereof. Okay, before we get started, there was a season 1 of this show.
Dating in Provo can be hard. Hi, my name is Remington.
Remington wanted to get his roommate, shy, awkward, sweet little Colin, a girlfriend. They use the same format, excuse me, a parody wink of ABC's The Bachelor and called it Bachelor of Provo. So, spoilers, I guess, but at the end of the show, Colin asks this girl to be his girlfriend. She says yes, but then goes on a mission. Rest in peace, Colin. It was a train wreck, and not in a good way. Like, I would feel bad making fun of season 1. Then Warner Bros., who owns The Bachelor, took down Remington's YouTube channel. So Remy had to change the name of the show and re-upload it. So now we're on to season 2, and it's a little bit better. It's just good enough for me to feel okay making fun of it. So here we are. Now there are 3 bachelorettes, so obviously it's a completely new and original show. Let's introduce them, shall we? First off, we have Ellie. She's actually a pretty famous YouTuber. I mean, relatively for Provo. But on the show, she's so boring. Like, she looks like she doesn't want to be there, ever.
So I applied to be on the crew, actually, because I make videos and do graphic design and stuff. And when I went in for my interview, they asked me if I would be a bachelorette. So I said sure.
So Ellie put in an application to be behind the camera because she's a digital media student. And I think that the show would be better if she did, because she has style, okay? Her videos look good. But on the show, she doesn't ever seem like she wants to be there, or she is interested in the guy she's dating, which is sort of a problem for a dating show. Up next is B, and she is, well, she's something.
So what we know about Kay right now, loves Italian food, loves country swing, loves war movies. Who wouldn't want to marry her?
Probably loves black people, low-key. Like, it looks like she has some jungle fever.
Yeah, she has
How do you tell? What do you look for?
Yeah,
I have a jungle fever radar.
I, Elizabeth B., last name, have never had a boyfriend.
Wait,
And why are you on a show to find a husband?
Oof.
Maybe.
Kwaku?
Kawaii.
Kawaku.
Kwaku.
Loves it.
Yeah, I'm ready. All right, 1, 2,
She's
3.
definitely gonna like him.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
I'm
she
telling
has
you,
jungle
I got
fever,
that
bro.
jungle
She
fever
got
radar.
jungle fever, bro. Can we make
Josue.
She wants some Josue,
Yep.
bro.
She's
Yeah.
into the minorities.
She
for
loves
sure.
the minorities, bro. Dude, I've had Mormon girls, like, they have a thing for minorities, dude. They love it.
It's because they're surrounded by all the other.
They're conquesting us. One time I had an ex call me a dirty beaner. You know, like, not like, but like, she's trying to be sexual about it.
Oh.
She called me dirty Mexican.
beaner.
Yeah, and I went, un bro momento. un bro momento. I just can't be saying that to me in the bedroom.
And that is like dark hair, dark skin. Oh my. Him, I want him.
Look, the way she said that, I want him.
I want that boy.
I want him in my collection.
Him.
I want that. She wants that boy. Yeah, I knew it. Jungle fever, Nate. You
I
knew.
got that radar, man.
Fucking dude, bro. She love it.
Superpower. No, did you see how sad she was?
She went, fuck. Get it, Barack. She's so. Look at her.
I know. She's like,
fuck. Oh, okay.
oh, she's
Okay.
gonna love this.
Stunner
dude.
boy. Okay, he's kind of cute. Okay, I don't like his glasses on his shirt though.
He's handsome.
I'm telling you.
Yo! Yo!
Jungle Fever dog.
Junglefever.com with her. Oh, fuck yeah!
And lastly, we have Lauren. She seems to be the most mature of the group and seems like, she's actually old enough to be married. And she was, actually. She got divorced. I'm glad she's willing to talk about it on the show because that's kind of taboo, especially here in Utah. Episode 1 starts with a weird skit about Colin from the first season that doesn't really make any sense if you're just jumping into season 2. They make a Notice Me Senpai joke about Noel Miller,
Is that Noah Miller? Remy, can you give him my number? No.
a YouTuber who made a bunch of videos roasting them, which we'll talk about. Pretty bad.
And welcome to Provo's Most Eligible Season 2.
Is that the creator?
I'm here at
Yeah,
Sleepy Ridge Golf
Remington
Course
Butler,
where we'll be
host.
filming every
That's
week.
the
That's
most
his last
6
name.
weeks as we go
Mormon
for
ass
3
name
batches
I've
of
ever
That's the whitest.
Love.
Remington.
Yeah, we've already met
My
him,
ex
so
named her
let's
kid
get to know them
Remington.
a
I'm like,
little
is he
bit
a
more.
gun?
I guess we should also talk about Remington. I can't find any evidence of him ever being in a relationship. He apparently only hangs out with his sisters or is complaining about being a third wheel or is role playing as Brigham Young with the contestants from season 1, which makes me wonder if he's qualified to run a dating show. Who matchmakes for the matchmaker? Okay, so we start off with, you guessed it, boring interviews. I think what makes this so terrible is that there's no B-roll. B-roll is the footage you put over a boring interview to illustrate what they're talking about and break up the monotony and hide your jump cuts. And without it, you're looking at the exact same shot for literally 5 minutes. I don't even think that the editors know that B-roll is even an option. In the roughly 12 hours, let me repeat that, 12 hours of season 2, I cannot think of a single time that someone talks and a different clip plays over it. Here's what this part of the show needs, okay? Packages. Think of every reality show you've ever seen. They always introduce the characters with these little videos with them and their jobs or their hobbies or their families and some stereotypical music. And then you watch it and you're like, okay, I get it. Surfer guy, country gal,
And I mean that.
the nerdy one.
So you need to use your brain, critically think, and problem solve. That's why I'm good at math.
Those are called archetypes, and every reality show has them. But don't you think that stereotyping people is mean? Maybe Sir Remington Butler intended to be a little more authentic and genuine by avoiding such trite haberdashery. And to that I would say, no. Look, you gotta make your show easy enough for us smooth brains who only look up every few minutes because we're too busy playing Animal Crossing to know who all 33 of the different characters are, even though they all have the same Provo genes and hairline and same business marketing in their lower third. You gotta do something for me here, Remy. Like, okay, The Bachelor show doesn't even use last names. And that's not to protect anyone's privacy or anything, because have you seen the show? It's because it's half as many words to remember for us popcorn shovelers. And okay, yeah, low budget show, I get it. But some of these would be so easy. Look, Daniel Spencer here talks about his meme page at Provo Whole Life and about TikTok. So grab a TikTok, put it on the screen. Now we have a better idea of who Daniel is. That took like 10 seconds. Look, here's Keaton. He's also a memer. This one's even easier. Go to Basic Provo Bro on Instagram, hit print screen, and you paste it in. Now we have an idea of who Keaton is. Now we see the difference between Provo Bro and Provo Ho.
What's happening? What's happening?
You know, the two genders.
Do we like it?
Okay, he's kind of buff
All right,
though.
yeah, look at
I
that.
don't want to talk too much shit on Ben because I feel like he beat me up. So
They accidentally get this sort of thing right when they use Mutual, which is the Mormon knockoff of Tinder, the classy Tinder, whatever that's supposed to mean. But the point is, seeing everybody's Mutual profiles actually does give us a little bit of extra visual information about the contestants. And the editors could have done this on purpose all the time for the whole show, but they didn't.
Brothers, they have to be. In this family
What is
picture.
he wearing?
Oh yeah.
Ye old Amish.
Okay, I cannot
Yeah, old Amish.
swipe on.
Hell yeah.
So here's James the Mormon. He was a rapper.
You know, a lot of people know me as, you know, a musician or a rapper, and
Apparently Mormons know who he is, and there was some jazz game thing, I don't know. But now he's out of the game and has a small business or something boring, I guess.
it really does hold me back in dating. I don't think women are interested, at least LDS women, are interested in dating a rapper.
Anyway, it would have been so easy to show a clip from a music video to get an idea of who he is or who he was or who he's trying to be. He's actually pretty good. I mean, like okay, but like surprisingly good, you know? And his story is interesting, but the closest we get is this.
I sometimes think I'm a pretty good freestyle rapper.
Oh, hell, Jeezy.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, Jeezy, get at it.
Mormon rapper.
Oh, God.
Here we go.
I might not have a beat to go right now, but you know that I'm staring at your eyes, and how can I stand here and not say you're pretty today?
Bro, you sound like Hobo
man.
Johnson.
But Kano, I hear you say, it's supposed to be cringy. It's not supposed to be good. Part 2, it's supposed to be cringy.
I'm glad you like my comedic movie. Exactly how I intended.
All right, let's face it. The sound's bad. They don't have an audio person. The camera is usually out of focus or pointing in the wrong direction or making me sick because everything is a fixed 50mm lens on a gimbal. The editing is very simplistic and often cuts in the middle. And all these are mistakes, right? They have their charm, sure, but it's not like Remington made any of this bad on purpose. See, I also don't think Remington has ever considered it a parody of The Bachelor. Everyone in the cast has always used words like version or spin-off. I think this whole "it's so cringy" thing comes from the fact that this show got way more popular than anyone expected. And Remy got roasted by Noel Miller and the rest of the internet, so he had a couple of options. 1, he could throw a huge fit.
You go crazy. Nobody respect my vision.
2, he could get discouraged and quit.
Look, Remy, you're not exactly the best matchmaker.
3, he could realize that people were enjoying it, even if they're roasting it, they're bringing in new viewership. Sorry, I don't know why I did that. But okay, you know what, Remington? I respect your ahaha dark comedy just as I intended a lot, but not enough to not make fun of your show. I think Remington just wants to make a dating show, and he doesn't have anything to say other than that, which is almost frustrating, you know? He fully accepts The Bachelor. He dreams of being Chris Harrison. He fully accepts his religion and his culture. The only problem I think he has with The Bachelor is how raunchy and sexual it is, because no one in Provost Most Sheltered says the word sex or even the word sexy, and he bleeps out swear words even though Mormon swearing is fucking hilarious.
Son of a bitch. Dang it. Well,
This is bull. And I don't really want to do it anymore.
Bleeping out naughties is not an exaggeration or a parody of The Bachelor. It's not like he's making fun of anything about it. He's just making his own squeaky clean knockoff. A parody of The Bachelor might look like this.
He's a big boy pilot with 30 sobbing Hannahs to choose from. Tune in to watch him deep kiss the white girls and high five the black girls this season on Pilot Hunt.
And like, this isn't even that funny, but it is clearly a parody because it's exaggerating, imitating, and juxtaposing things about The Bachelor in order to make fun of it or make a point. And it's not a satire of Utah culture either. Every chance Remington gets to point out some silly thing in Utah culture, like how they have to drink Martinellis instead of wine, or how young Trump over here makes the biggest Mormon flex ever by giving Lauren her very own family home evening.
And I'm just gonna change 2 of the words.
Okay.
So,
Oh no.
oh no. It says, and
Changing scripture?
Changing scripture.
You
I'm
can't do
changing.
that.
So it says.
He doesn't do anything with it. He doesn't exaggerate it or juxtapose it with anything or point out any ironies or hypocrisies. He doesn't use the camera or editing to show how clearly uncomfortable Lauren is or cut to an interview with her to find out what she thinks. He just presents it without comment and with the same royalty-free acoustic jams he's been playing this whole time, as if to say, this is normal. This is good. Yes, I'm cringing, but it's Remington. Part 3, eliminate me from watching this show. Okay, so back to watching the show, I guess. The way it's split up is really strange. Every episode has a part 1 and a part 2. Each 2-part episode is 1 week of filming, meaning the entire show lasts longer than some Mormons take to get married. Ha ha ha, I wish I was joking. But speaking of, I can't tell if the goal is to get married or not. I don't think it is. The logo has a ring in it, and you'd think for a Provo show they would get hitched, but they don't. You can usually skip part 2 of every episode. It's just everybody talking at the golf club. And it drags on and on. People just talking about nothing. It's so boring. It does this thing where they cut in the middle of people talk.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Mostly, because you know I was going to push you off first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good one. So here's the thing. I've just been thinking with it getting closer. You know, we've gotten rid of a couple of guys. And anyway, ever since the very beginning of this, I thought, I think I told you in the golf car, I thought you had this special light. And I think that's something that's so special. And I told you, I was like, man, I think that, you know, I'm so glad I'm on here with somebody that I could like.
So even if you're into voyeuristic slice of life, just listening to people blather on type of show, they don't even get that right. At the end of each episode, they do their not rose ceremony. On The Actual Bachelor, the Bachelor has a certain number of roses to hand out every week. And at the end of the episode, they have the big dramatic rose ceremony where he hands them out one by one. If you don't get a rose, you pack your bags and you go home.
Kaylin.
In Provo's Most Legally Distinct, it works kind of like that. Like, Remington calls up one of the guys and then one or more of the bachelorettes steps forward. If there's a tie, the guy gets to choose which bachelorette to take their flower from. Each girl has their own kind of flower, which is sort of clever, I guess, but they should have worn dresses or something that matches their flower for little pee-pee brains like me to keep up. But then again, it doesn't even really matter what team the guys are on because they can just jump between teams whenever they want to.
Can I say something crazy?
I love crazy.
Can I be on your team?
So if it doesn't matter which flower they get, also why even how exactly does the ceremony even Remington work? Says during episode 1 that each bachelorette, if you're like me, you'd be so flabbergasted that he's playing, and there might be overlap.
If I understand,
even though they step forward, it's the only time during the whole show. How could they know? The guys get together beforehand. We got to hit. Might as well just and hurt people's feelings for my entertainment. Okay, so in episode 2, nothing really happens. They have a weird fashion runway peacocking thing. Dink-ass Daniel wore this fit, which would go on to star in his vibe check TikToks.
And killing your husband is not a vibe! Not a vibe!
Got him. And then they do this paint fight thing, which is apparently just a Utah thing or a Mormon thing, or I guess maybe a white people thing, because I remember doing it in school, but Nate and Danny don't. I think I might know why horny, repressed Mormons who are desperate for physical contact do it, though. Then they go to like a weird goat yoga commune thing and have goats jump all around them. And wait, what the hell? Is that a microphone? Did they finally get a microphone with a windscreen? Wow, I mean, it's not really how you're supposed to use it. You're supposed to clip that on your belt and then plug in a little clippy lavalier mic to, you know what? I'm just glad they're improving. It's nice. But yeah, goat yoga. I don't really know what to say about this other than it is very Midsommar.
Tomorrow's a big day.
Is it scary?
And also super, I want to get away with touching each other without really touching each other. You know what I mean? Just, Just have sex, okay? Just get a room and don't drag us to your weird goat commune up in the mountains. We're off to the fair with Georgian accent Scott, and none of us know if his accent is real or not.
I'm a Georgian. I know this by heart.
I speak Georgian.
I speak Georgian. I'm a Georgian by heart. I know all this.
Sometimes it's British.
Sometimes it's British, but I'm Georgian at heart. But yes, I am Georgian at heart. Yeah, I am.
Anyway, credit where credit's due. The fair's really cute with the lights and fireworks and the Remington. Wait, Remington? You can't date the Bachelorettes. You know that, don't you? Don't you, Remy?
Dancing again. Let's go dancing again.
Part 4. Make Provo great again. Episode 3, Part 2 is where everyone starts showing their true colors. And they're MAGA red, baby.
Fuck this guy. Okay.
So Georgian accent Scott tells 18-year-old Ellie that he's going to take her where no one can find her.
Okay. Here's what I figure. If we leave and just start walking, then they have to find you to steal you from me.
True.
Pretty impressed
he's
at
done
how
this before. And he's definitely murdered people doing this.
So he puts on the hat in a private interview behind closed doors like a real big man. And say what you will about MAGA hats, but he is deliberately associating himself with shit like this. And this.
Between the high school students, including junior Nick Sandman, and an Omaha elder Nathan Phillips went viral and sparked outrage. Phillips told the Post his...
And most recently this.
Globalist bioweapon meant to shut down our economy. America knows it was a Chinese communist bioweapon.
But he still deliberately puts it on where no one can see him and saves his bumper stickers for when he's out in public.
Oh my gosh, look what we found in here. Trump 2020.
You know, I still respect Scotty. He's still a cool cat, but not too cool when he rubs that Trump stuff around, but oh well.
I'm more surprised by Remington. Why did he leave this in? I think we can rule out that he's secretly a Trump supporter, because can you even imagine Remington voting or saying anything political? I can't. Option B is that he's intentionally setting up Scott to be the villain.
Can we have Scott please come forward and join us on stage? Scott, everybody, let's give him a warm
hello.
Can we now have Keaton join us up here on stage?
I don't think that's true either, because he plays the same happy music he always has, and Ellie is totally in love with him, and I think that is a little bit above Remington's storytelling capabilities.
Sneak peek on season 2. Take a look. Thanks for watching.
Option C is that Remy is so dedicated to the unfiltered truth that it's in there just because it happened. And it's Remy's duty to leave it in. And maybe that sounds kind of noble, but in order for that to hold water, that means that the whole show needs to pass the authenticity check, which means we need to talk about Daniel Spencer.
At least that's what I would have done if I killed him.
Part 5. Not a vibe.
Not a vibe! Not a vibe! I am a vibe, okay? I save endangered animals. Carol Baskin! You have brought hateration and holleration into the dancery, and thus have failed the vibe check. My name is Daniel Spencer. I am from Harare, Zimbabwe.
Maybe you already know this, but Daniel Spencer, aka Provo Holife / Dan Bamham, and now at Dancast Daniel, went on this dating show, this straight dating show, even though he's gay. Daniel's story is by far the most interesting one, but the creators haven't really acknowledged it ever at all. Okay, so spring 2019. Daniel's toying around with the idea of going on the show. At this point, he was getting pretty famous on TikTok and Twitter and Instagram for his spicy memes. He knew he was in the closet, but he wanted to come out soon. So he applied to the show as a joke, but then missed the interview on purpose. Well, Remy wanted some of that sweet, sweet clout, or maybe he just thought Daniel was hilarious, so he said Daniel could still be on the show if he came to the second interview. At this point, Daniel decided that since gay people are basically invisible in Provo, if he went on the show, pretended to be straight, showed everyone that he was a normal, fun guy, and then came out, maybe he could change some minds. And so that's what he does. The whole show he pretends. He's a crowd favorite though, because he's one of the few genuine people on the show. Then after the show, he came out on social media.
Okay. My name is Daniel Spencer. I spent the last 25 years of my life trying to make people laugh. I wanted to be able to help people find joy in a lot of places that I thought there was a lot of sorrow. Being raised in an LDS community and being raised in Zimbabwe at an old boys school for most of my
But that doesn't mean Remington has ever acknowledged this.
Daniel, welcome. Can we ask you a couple of questions? So I understand that it's okay for me to mention this, but you came out on social media recently, so congratulations.
Hey, thank you.
So, Remington Butler, you had a chance to influence Provo culture and make LGBT plus Mormons at BYU feel seen, and you did nothing. Instead, you tacitly endorsed right-wing extremism because you thought that would ruffle less feathers than being honest with Daniel's story, and thus have failed the vibe check. Part 6. Awkward kissing. Things are heating up with the other contestants as well. Austin Simpkins over here is pulling out all the stops by bringing out a fucking baby.
I'm so excited to be a mom. Sometimes I lay in my bed at night and I rub my belly and I talk to my future children that are unborn.
This guy, Mikey's his name, thought it would be a good idea to aimlessly drive around in a limo in the middle of the day. Hot off his mission, Mullet Man Walker brings out his finest bottle of Diet Coke.
Here you are, my lady.
And shares a really awkward kiss with B where the camera's like a foot from their faces. Not to be outdone, Fanny Pack Jake sends up a Phantom of the Opera thing, date, something. Then later, Lauren says, "I'm scared," and for the first time on the show, there are subtitles, which aren't even correct, and they're not even consistently the same font, so thanks for that, Remy. But then Fanny Pack Jake plants a big ol' smoochie and creams his pants, presumably.
Yeet! I was like, yeah!
Everyone immediately knows because they're all watching and they all cheer. I felt pretty icky watching this, but it turns out there's more to the story. Remington said that there was supposed to be no contact outside the show, but he left loopholes. So Jake and Lauren stayed up till like 2 a.m. one night in the car talking about their feelings, and they said they wanted to kiss, but they should save it for the show, which is exactly the kind of cutesy, genuine shit this show needs. Which shows that Remy is more interested in playing matchmaker and being everyone's friend, I think, than making a good show, because he should have got that on camera, and he should have been stricter on his contestants.
Oh my gosh, that's so freaking dope!
But The award for most awkward kiss goes to our boy, MAGA Scott, for this open mouth monstrosity. I don't want to think about this, okay? I don't want to watch this. I don't want this taking up any space in my brain. Just make it stop. Please, make it stop. Part 7, padding out the runtime.
Hello, my name is Walker Wright. I am Mr. Wright, and I'm going to sing a song for you today.
Okay, so they do a little thing I'll call a sober karaoke. And for some reason, we need to see every single contestant sing every single song in full because these episodes aren't long enough already. Oh, but there's so the drama and totes the tea because Austin Simpkins switched from Team B to Team Lauren.
I love Crazy.
Can I be on your team?
Yes!
Which would have a lot more impact if I knew who was on whose team. They really need uniforms or something.
I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there
Then they go to this chocolate place.
Welcome to our chocolate factory. I hope you all love chocolate, because if you do, this is going to be like...
And the white male rage gets turned up to 11. This asshole named Ben, who's been playing this smarmy, aloof character this whole time.
Love to get in the next episode, but at the same time, I don't really care because there's so many other girls that would want to date me outside the show. At the same time, get in the next episode, but at the same time, get in the next episode, but at the same time.
Jose feeds Ellie a chocolate strawberry, but
Mom said it was my turn to feed Ellie strawberries. Ree!
You know what? I like Josue, but he's kind of pissing me off today because I wanted to feed Ellie first.
So Ben throws this huge fit and beats the shit out of Josue's chocolate.
What? Hey, look, Ellie, I have something for you. You haven't got me. You're just crap, bro. You suck, dude.
Ben is 100% in the wrong here. The proof is in the pits, my guy. You don't get to get this tilted over chocolate and still claim the aloof, smarmy persona.
So if they do choose me, it's going to be because of my looks, not really my personality.
We get the rare opportunity to see Remy and Co. making some creative editing choices here. They play intense, dramatic Batman music for Ben. Sexy, charming, baby-making music for Josue. Implying, I think, that Ben is being overly serious and Josue is the one with all the moves. But then Ellie chooses Ben anyway, which is really confusing. Is she doing it just to placate him so he doesn't fucking hit her? Also, I can't help but point out that Josue is the only cast member of color left on the show, so there's something extra unsettling about this. If this was The Bachelor, it would be the perfect time for Chris Harrison to do his job as a host and confront Ellie and Ben about their decisions. I think the appeal of the Chris Harrison character is that he gets to be the audience surrogate. You know, he gets to ask the questions that we want to ask. He's also sort of a friend and a neutral party in like this weird show where you don't have any friends or any outside contact. And on top of all of that, he's Peter at the gate. You know, he's Osiris, weighing your heart. He makes people answer for what they've done. He's their inner conscience. Chris Harrison is really kind of a mythical figure if you think about it. So imagine Chris Harrison walks in. He could ask Ellie, why did you reward Ben for losing his temper? Or did you see what he did as a red flag? But this isn't The Bachelor, and Remy is no Chris Harrison. So we're just swooped off to the next scene without even thinking about it, like always.
Before the show, about like 3 weeks or 4 weeks before the show, I was dating this girl kind of seriously. And then within this like last week or two, she's been reaching out to me and wanting to like pick things where they left off, and I feel really right about it.
Peace out, boys!
Wow.
Okay, episode 5. It's swimsuit edition, baby. They have this big pool party, and it's Ellie's 19th birthday. And she likes donuts, I guess. That's a personality trait, I suppose.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
See, I'm an old natural guy. I don't care what people think about me, but we have some guys in the group who do, you know? And it's, you know, to each their own. Let them do their thing. But, like, I come in with farmer's tan every single time. Not even. This is just, like, pale. White.
So here's the thing. If you are a big boy, that's fine. Okay? But the thing is, even if someone says I'm owning this, is that just you saving face?
Look, I don't even want to bring up these Provo dating coaches because they're just such assholes, but I think it's important to show the worst parts of Provo dating culture. The weird, angry male game it all is.
His inability to show, like, hey, I'm interested in you in a physical way, in a romantic way, because he never did that. We did not base that on his size. We based it on the fact that he just didn't make things man to woman. Wasn't going to take him seriously because of his appearance physically.
Look, they're so fat phobic that we don't even get to find out how homophobic they are.
You can be too nice.
Why we give Ben so many passes and why we give the nice guys such a hard time.
They like worship Ben, though.
Me and my wife, me and Bree, my wife.
So let's just roll a couple quick clips that kind of show that.
But look, in order to make him look like he doesn't give a fuck, they had to carefully, surgically remove him stumbling over his words.
I'm excited. I would love to get in the next episode. At the same time, I don't really care because there's so many other girls that would want to date me outside the show. I would love to get in the next episode. At the same time, but at the same time.
I wonder if they realize the irony. See, Daniel is cool precisely because he's honest and vulnerable and funny about his insecurities. But that's enough from these guys. Back to the show.
Because you're a little bit more of the nice guy. You come off more like the cool guy.
Thank you.
That was the biggest insult I've ever had.
So later, Lauren goes on this big fancy date with Caleb and goddamn. Look at all this production value all of a sudden. Remy, my guy, you really blew your load on this one. I mean, it lasts 10 minutes longer than it needs to, but I'm impressed, okay? And Caleb? If I met Caleb just walking around, I'd probably think he's the biggest tool, but I can't believe I'm saying this. He's my favorite on Team Lauren. He's got the swagger, and he's the only adult man. You know what I'm saying? He's the only one who doesn't look like a child.
Yeet. Yeah!
Keaton and B go out to dinner and go boxing, and it's very intense. But Keaton's a cool guy. At first, I thought he was truly basic Provo bro, but he is really growing on me. Now he's just bro, you know? And now Ellie and Josue are going ziplining. And look, they have more than 2 cameras. They have microphones. It's nice. There's nothing to meme anymore. I don't have a job. It's high praise, Remington. Don't let it go to your head, okay? Here's the thing about ziplining, though. It's that it is the perfect solo date. You know what I'm saying? It's clear. Ellie only has eyes for MAGA Scott. But due to the structure of the show, she's had to string the other guys on her team along this whole time. I guess Remy's sort of in a pickle here, because if he does edit in an interview of Ellie saying she only wants the sweet, sweet, open-mouthed, tongue-sticking-out kisses of MAGA Scott, then all the drama and mystery is gone.
So I knew Scott was my winner since before we even started filming. So me and the other 2 bachelorettes met with Remington in the library the week before we started filming, and we went through all of the guys off camera. And we went through, we had all their headshots just laid out on the table, and we were looking through them. And then we pulled up their mutual profiles. We get to Scott's, and I saw his red truck, and I immediately was like, oh my gosh, he drives a red truck, which, by the way, it's not even a truck, it's a Bronco, so whatever. I always loved the idea of, you know, like a sweet Southern guy, you know, so I was like, oh, this is perfect. And immediately that night I said, that's my winner.
But if we don't know how she's feeling, then we're left to assume that she just doesn't want to be on the show. You know what I'm saying?
Or Ellie's hobbies, or things Ellie likes. I'm just trying to, you know, think of what I want to say. You like fruit spreads like we had today.
Whoa, you don't know anything about me?
I know.
All this time?
Ellie
It's
likes.
been like
Ellie likes
4 weeks.
making videos. She likes looking beautiful, or at least I think she does, because she does it all the time. She likes golf now.
Dang, you weren't even paying attention.
You're putting me on the spot.
My God.
If this wasn't on the spot, I could think of so many more things.
Steal Ellie?
Dude.
I think that's why there's so much endgame drama on The Real Bachelor show. Because look, it's a show about first dates. The second that someone is in a committed relationship, then the show is over. So on The Bachelor, near the end, people are having sex. They're meeting parents. But there's no sex in Provo. So where's the drama? Part 8, Bachelor's Endgame. Episode 5, Part 2. It's a Part 2, so nothing fucking happens, and I take back every compliment I gave the show because it's the same awkward filming and rushed editing. I think this is Lauren's sister, and this is like a sister test, but she doesn't have a lower third where it says her name, or an interview where she goes, I like Simpkins, or I don't like Simpkins, so we don't even get a clear shot of her, so who knows why they put it in. I don't know. Keaton and B watch a movie in this room, which I don't know. Is this still part of the golf club? Where are we? Anyway, he kicks out the camera person, and ooh, what's that on his laptop? Computer. Rewind. Zoom in. Enhance. Is that a Yang Gang sticker? Okay, Keaton. Daniel gets kicked off. He gets the chance to give the final message, and now, knowing Daniel's full story and the reason he went on the show, everything he says has a sort of double meaning.
If I have advice for Provo and people dating in Provo, it would be just be chill, calm down. Let's all just like love each other and be okay with people making decisions that affect their lives and not your life. I think what was really cool and what this show showed me was that like B didn't care about my size. She was just trying to find the person that she liked the most. Obviously, I'm eliminated right now, but I don't think that has anything to do with my size. No matter how big you are, no matter how small you are, you can find love, and there will be people that are genuine and beautiful like B is that will not take into account those aspects of you, that really look for your personality. So look for those people, all right? Be like B.
On the next episode, there's more dates.
So my biggest concern with Lauren...
Listen to him. Now, listen to him from 2 episodes ago.
It's kind of secluded, and I pulled her right in front of everyone. I was like, after like I first kissed her.
Now listen to him.
Is this part of the show? Or is this actual...
Did he go through a second puberty or something? What's going on here? Jake and Lauren talk about Lauren's divorce, and it's actually really sweet. So there's skydiving, paragliding, boating, ATVs, and everyone's favorite couple gets stuck over here making rings. Notice anything off about how they're acting? We'll come back to that later. Okay. We are finally on episode 7, and there is finally a light at the end of the tunnel because it's almost over. And it's time for family dates. On Real Bachelor, these are some of the most dramatic endgame episodes because naturally, families and dating can cause a lot of conflict. Does Provo's most family members stack up? Well, let's find out.
That question is answered.
Scott decides to show Ellie his entire family over Google Hangouts, including a cardboard cutout of one of his brothers, I guess, who's on a mission. That's a thing. Then he introduces poor Ellie to every single second cousin or great aunt twice removed in his whole family tree. Can you imagine how intimidating this would be? Then there's Scott's roommate, who says he's possessive of Scott.
I feel like I'm really possessive of Scott.
Pulls Ellie aside to interrogate her one-on-one. I wish I knew this guy's name. I wish him and Scott had their own show. Walker's mom pulls out the fucking scrapbooks, so rest in peace, Walker, my guy. He had a good run. Then they go to Josue's where they play Uno.
Fun fact of the day, Uno, the word Uno doesn't originate from the game, it originates from the Spanish language.
And Ellie calls Josue muy guapo.
Josue, te ves muy guapo.
Let me tell you, man, that was hot. Ellie speaking Spanish to me, calling me handsome, that hit right on the heartstrings.
And I think this sort of interaction between different cultures is really interesting, but strangely, Josue brings in his two dweeby white guy friends to be his like romantic advisors or like his gatekeepers, whatever you want to call them. And also, if the guy on the right isn't going to say anything, why is he in the interview? They're like Phineas and Ferb, all grown up. It kind of sucks that we really only hear from these white guys instead of Josue's family. Why not show what Provo is like for a family who isn't white? Why do we have to interview Phineas and Ferb just like every other segment when we could be seeing something new and interesting? And then there's another awkward kiss. Does Ellie just have bad luck? How is Fanny Pack Jake the best kisser on this show?
I know my abilities as far as kissing goes. In my lifetime, 24. Including Lauren.
The most confusing thing about all of this is that it's supposed to be the bachelorettes families that we visit, right? Not the dudes. Because if each guy is only dating one bachelorette, then their family is just gonna be like, yeah, bro, or I guess, bro. That's not nearly as dramatic as if each bachelorette took each guy they were dating back home to the same family, and then the family had to decide which one that they liked the most. I'm not saying Provo's most negligible should play out exactly like The Bachelor, but I am saying that if it does differ, they should have a good reason to. Who's calling me? Yeah. Call from unknown number.
It's Slick. What if it was Slick?
At this point, we found out while we were filming that our classes were being moved online due to COVID-19, which was a little crazy.
Did y'all get that phone call? Maybe it was from Slick.
Oh, shit. Classes are canceled.
I think it works great.
What last one would have said?
She's really nice. She's got a great person.
This might be the last time we
Until
see
the end
her.
of the fucking semester.
What the fuck? Wait, really?
What the hell?
What the fuck?
Hold up.
What the fuck?
Until the end of the semester.
What the fuck?
We need like some sources on that.
Yeah, Omar just said. I think Omar's playing with us. Omar likes to play around, right?
Yeah, he does.
I don't know. Hey, Omar likes to play around, right? Fuck.
In-person classes to move online and other COVID-19 updates.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Well,
shit. So yeah, how are we supposed to do any of our projects?
Yeah. What am I supposed to fucking do?
Yeah, what the hell?
Okay. All right.
Well.
Pro
was eligible. Canceled until further notice. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, we gotta finish this episode.
Yeah, we can.
Let's finish it and then we can edit it.
Yeah, because we gotta finish this.
Let's keep on making our meme video.
Epic meme
Happy
channel.
memes.
Happy memes. Hopefully I don't fucking die.
LOL, dude. All I know is that I swore a lot. I wandered the halls on what was very suddenly my last day of school. And I thought, fuck, are we ever gonna finish watching this show? Part 9, finishing watching this show. I'll put
my mask on for this dude.
So the finale is actually pretty boring, and like everything else in Provo, it's simultaneously too short and too long. There's no climax, and I'm left unsatisfied. Does that mean she picked him?
No.
It is.
And I don't want to drag this out. So.
Oh shit.
Ew.
My goodness.
Oh no.
My goodness.
Well, I've been nervous.
Oh,
What is
good
this
golly
pose?
gosh. Oh, he's bullshitting you to your face, Ellie. Oh.
I love you too.
I have not seen that part. Olive juice too.
Got him.
Kissing her. This is like.
Why is Remy like the third in this? He's like.
Give Remy
You're
a
a
kiss.
throuple.
Give Remy a kiss. Whose uncle's Ferrari is that? That's what I want.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm ready as I'll ever be.
What's his name? I forgot everybody's names.
Prince Charming from Shrek.
Well, before I say anything else, I want you to know genuinely.
Oh shit.
All three of us just got triggered.
Communicate and express ourselves.
He looks like a Pixar character now. He looks like. Who am I picturing?
He looks like he's in The Incredibles.
Yeah. But what character does that face?
A bystanding citizen. Wow, don't lead him on like that.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. What a metaphor.
What the heck? Yeah.
What is that, a Harry Potter wand?
Yeah, it's a Harry Potter wand.
Yes, I have.
Because you've already cast a spell on me.
That's a good one. I like it. Do you remember me? We'd met.
Have we actually? I said I think it would be fitting for me to give you this wand because you've already cast a spell on me.
Oh.
But Walker Wright, the big fat joke is that on me because I am so stupid under your spell.
There's like layers of cringe to this.
Yeah.
Hi, Lauren.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Oh, bye, Simpson. You already know there's.
From the fact that he's going first means that he's out of here.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about just kind of what's been on my mind and what's. Yeah.
When do you think he knows?
I also feel like I have something to say that probably.
Oh shit, he doesn't
know. Out first.
No, I don't know if
want
he
you to
knows.
know above all how much I care about you. I have met a lot of cool girls before in my life. I want you to know that I really genuinely care about who you end up with, and if that is with Jake tonight or in the future, whoever it is, I hope that you really do choose someone who takes the best care of you.
He's a fucking simp, bro.
He's like, let me reject myself before you rejected me.
Yeah.
You can't fire me. I quit.
Okay, before you say anything.
Oh, is he hedging his bets too?
Gotta say first.
Jesus Christ, just let him talk.
First.
Yeah. Just interrupt her and be like, before you talk, let me talk.
I mean, we just started out, like I just was looking for a friend and I think it turned into so much more and I've fallen in love with you too.
This is so weird.
At least they kiss normally and they don't inhale each other's faces.
Yeah.
They're a boyfriend and a girlfriend now. I hate their choices.
He's probably excited about that.
What the hell?
I've known for a couple weeks that
Put that tie down. And that is it. That's the whole episode. It's all over. Except for the Men Tell All. Except it's called Live Q&A because they don't want old Lunky Warner Bros. Knocking on their door again. And in the Men Tell All, we find out that every single couple has broken up since the show wrapped. Which means poor Remington, if we count season 1, is now 0 for 4.
Annalie Mae, Ross. Nah, I'm just kidding.
The date with Scott and Ellie making rings was a lie. They filmed that after they broke up and put it in the show at the last second, which is baffling to me. Look, I wouldn't even have noticed. And I have been like obsessively combing through this show over and over again. I wouldn't have noticed if they skipped a date with Scott. And in fact, I would be relieved. But Remy went out of his way to misrepresent the truth. And look, it's a documentary. Sometimes you have to bend the truth a little bit, take a little creative license here and there. It's part of the medium. There is no such thing as objective truth. But if you're going to make something up, at least make it good. So no, I'm not mad that you lied to me, Remy. I'm mad that you didn't lie well. You wasted your big lie on this lame-ass date that adds nothing to the show, when if you're okay with bending the truth anyway, you could have been spicing things up this whole time. Part 10. Epilogue. Chris Harrison at the gate. Remington, let me be your Chris Harrison at the end of the show, can I? Let's talk about what you accomplished. You set out to make a show where people find love, and you kind of failed. Yeah, if you want to get sappy, people had some summer flings and made some friends and learned life lessons or whatever, but your logo has a ring in it, and there are no rings. Some people claim you've made a parody of The Bachelor and of Utah culture, but since you haven't made any points, we'll just leave it at this. I laughed. I don't think I was supposed to as much as I did. Your filmmaking was amateur and your editing very simplistic, and every episode is half an hour longer than it needs to be. But look, you would win Most Improved. It has its kitschy charm. Would we even be talking about your show if it wasn't so fun to make fun of? Probably not. So should you make a season 3? You were planning on it, but then God said, let there be Corona, and put a stop to that. But I think you have something here. You don't know what you have. You think it's just a dating show, but you have something. Look, Remy, I think you could have done more. You were given a lot of talent, or should I say talents. Whether you wanted to or not, now you have a platform and a voice in Provo, and there are lots of people who are hurt or feel invisible in Provo or in LDS culture. Did you do anything for them? Or was it easier to just go with the status quo? Maybe that was the best call financially. I mean, maybe if you had made a point, you'd be too cynical for your Provo audience and too sincere for your ironic one. But now you do have both audiences, and when this all blows over, there will be a season 3. Whatever you do with it, it'll have an effect on me. And I feel like I don't have a voice because I'm an evil apostate ex-Mormon, so no one will listen to me. But maybe they'll listen to you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to watch my next favorite show, Match Made in Rexburg.